my hair.
And we're back with a hair update from Kelly Anna, who's just joining us. We're almost through the day,
I'm
so you're one of our final guests for just today, and we'll be back tomorrow.
Good,
How are you, Kelly? How are you doing?
Good, I'm good. I'm enjoying the sun because we don't have it in London.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It's good. Nice to be off again. I think you mentioned you were here in 2019, so back.
Before COVID. Obviously.
Yeah, exactly. We were just talking about that. How did you handle COVID? Were you back in London, or
I had a kid in COVID,
had a kid.
so
that's productive.
It was productive. Had a kid. Carried on working.
I feel like we're catching up on like all the progress.
Exactly.
Were you able to keep up with the work during COVID as well, and like any clients?
Yes. The first part I think I had within a week I had 7 jobs cancel on me. Obviously, I mean so did everyone. But it was fine. It started to pick up. After that. So.
And now you're fully back.
Fully back.
For anyone tuning in, we should probably just introduce you yourself and go through a little bit of what you do and how you got here.
Sure. I'm Kelly Anna. I'm an artist and designer living in London. Ask away, ask some questions.
I have so many. I mean, we'll share your work. You have Instagram open, but you're known for your female figures. I know you've interviewed a lot about this, so there's tons of content out there about how you're inspired and what got you there. I'm personally quite a sporty person. I'm really into everything that's featuring athletes in the recent work you've done. How did that come about? Just generally as a theme.
Well, so I come from a family of sport. So
nice.
I grew up as a dancer. I speak about this a lot actually, but my parents were ballroom and Latin dancers. It's how they met, and then we all are I have 4 siblings. No, 3. And we all ended up. I know.
We forgot about them.
We all ended up dancing as well. And then we were into a lot of sport. My uncle was a boxing champion, so we did boxing, karate.
Wow. Okay.
I was a gymnastics coach, so I was always in sport and movement. So it it just naturally married them together, which I think because I love art. So
how did you find art and design? How did it get integrated into your passion for sport?
It was it's been a lifelong thing, really. I think when I was younger, I used to sketch the dances and the gymnasts, and I did that for years as a kid, and I just kind of continued doing it. And then I ended up falling into fashion design, but it was the illustration side that I kind of actually loved. So I ended up doing fashion illustration. And then from that, I kind of was just I can use movement, sport, illustration, put it all together. So it was kind of a natural journey that happened. But
how was the fashion industry? I think it can be a little bit brutal sometimes, to try and get into that, maybe more as a designer or fashion designer. But how was it from an illustration perspective?
Fashion industry is a tough one. It's quite brutal if you're not ready. And I was right out of uni when I went into it. And I don't think that I was fully prepared. But you know what? I learned a lot of skills in that industry that I still use today. I learned print design. I learned how to, talk to factories and work on production, see a sketch go from a sketch into a final product, right? So as hard as it was for me, it was more of a kind of a learning experience on kind of learning new techniques, basically.
Nice. And I've talked to a lot of people today who were I didn't necessarily have a creative education as such. Did you go into that route of specializing into design, or what was the background you had at university?
So like I said, I did fashion design and marketing as my first course. And I got onto the course, and I was no, okay. I could not pattern cut. It is a science in itself. So I bow down to anyone who can pattern cut.
If you're out there.
So I was first year of uni, and I had moved to London, right? I'd moved my whole life there. And I was freaking out because I was oh my God, this course is awful. But anyway, I ended up falling into fashion illustration at uni. So I took that route, which was weird because I don't know. It was a useless course. It was.
But you got through it.
I got through it.
If it was inspiring, that's already one thing.
It was okay. The course was fine. But what I was more focused on was using those 3 years as time to get into the industry.
Yep.
So I interned from year 1.
Yeah.
So, and I knew that, actually most of the most important work was on the outside.
For like taking off as a career. Like how was it getting your first clients and coming out of university and starting to work hands-on?
Honestly, I didn't get my first client until about 9 years later after uni.
Okay, that's a reality check for like everyone.
Because I didn't go out on my own. I went to work for companies and brands, and for like 9 years I was a print designer in footwear and apparel.
Okay.
And then whilst I was working there, I was like, oh, I really want to do my own thing.
Yeah.
And then once I'd realised that, I think it took like a good 2 years of working, building up my portfolio, building up my style again, kind of really figuring out what it is that I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And then finally, whilst I was still working as a print designer, finally then got my first client, which was Nike. So
not bad.
Yeah, no.
How does it feel to be like approached by Nike all of a sudden and to work with those big brands?
It was it was fun. It was I mean, we've had a long relationship now. It's been a good few years now that I've been working with them, and they're just they're the best to work for in terms of design and
We should show some of it because I know we haven't screen shared yet, but I can see the logo there, so we should go through it.
I'll just go with this one. So this was the Nike Artist in Residence collection that I did. And it was called Run Past the Future.
Yep.
And the idea was all about kind of looking at dates in running history that kind of pushed the sport forward. And then basically I created numbers from 1 to 9 in my style.
Yep.
And we kind of used that as the base print. Here you go.
Very cool.
So the numbers... I'll go through what that actually means. So each number is representative of, do you know on the running tracks where the numbers are kind of broken up? So I took the numbers, broke them up, but it also kind of had a deeper meaning, which was, it was all about teamwork. Each element was a different team member kind of, supporting the athlete.
Yeah.
So, and then we basically, each date was kind of represented in the print. So that's what it was about. And then obviously you got the dates on the arms and stuff. But it was really fun. So that was the collection I did. This was a football pitch that I just recently did.
Okay, the scale is getting massive.
I know.
Now. How do you handle that?
Well, this one was actually like mental, and I actually had a team to paint it for me.
Yeah.
Because obviously it was like a different base that I'd never worked on before. Yeah. And it was quite tricky because I know that they had to mix the paint with, I think, some sort of sand mix or something. And actually quite a few people asked why didn't they do it, put it into the, I can't remember why there's a reason, but there was a reason they had to do it a certain way. But that was really, really fun.
How did you get into like painting, or were you always experimenting with not just digital art, but also like, hands-on? Yeah.
I think throughout my whole career, like I've always been quite handsy. I've always wanted to, create things in real life. I think that's why I got into print design as well, because I love texture and I love, mixed media and So
How is the process with Nike, for example, when you get those products? Like, do you get a bit of feedback in terms of like looking at the product and saying, okay, that color, it didn't come out the way I expected it, and how does that work?
Yeah, so I obviously was used to it because I'd done years in footwear and apparel. I understood that what you're designing on screen is just going to be completely different. You have to see, you have to touch it, you have to feel it, and sometimes. And it was actually during COVID that this was being done, so it was kind of a lot of the production. Sometimes I didn't get to see it, but so it's I think that's the thing when you work on product for different brands, you don't always have complete control over. But it was good. I'm glad. I'm happy how it turned out the way it did. So.
Totally. Should we go through a couple more projects that you've got in there? I know you're on Instagram.
Sorry, this is my recent, I've been going crazy in my studio recently. So, of Nike or just random?
Just random, okay, whatever's been.
Oh, this was fun. So I got asked to do the sticker pack for the women's Euros. And
very cool.
And it was amazing because I was obsessed with the football sticker packs when we were
younger.
Literally, like the UK football, it's just like the biggest thing. And like obviously women's football at the moment is just taking a massive leap, and
Booming,
to be able to work on this, it was like the biggest honour for me. So it's really fun, but it was.
I mean, look at that. That's insane. Like being out there.
It was funny because I'd never obviously worked on something like this, and I always get quite funny about. Like, I have the biggest respect for graphic designers, and I've always been like, Kelly, stay in your lane. But I say this all the time, but I was literally never going to give this to anyone. I was like, I'm going to take it.
I'm going to do everything I can.
But it was good because they ended up being shared loads, and all the players ended up, sharing their sticker. So, which was really nice. So yeah, that was that. Yeah. Do you want to see some more?
Yeah, go for it.
This was, I took over the storefront at Gant in Regent Street, London. Me, lol. Yeah, it was basically to take over the store, and we it was called Mother and I, but it was really challenging this because it was, of course we were working to budget, and also it was quite a tight space.
Yeah.
And a lot of the things that we wanted to do, we couldn't quite fit it in, but but it was good. It was really fun.
You're like creative under pressure.
Yeah, it really wasn't. We didn't have much time to do it. It was just it was quite intense, but that was it.
Awesome.
And then there was the other window as well, which I don't think I've got on here. So
Super cool. And I saw in a couple of interviews as well that you do work with Adobe tools, which is not necessarily what we're like pushing today at all, but I know you've worked with like Photoshop and Illustrator, and which is amazing. I was like, oh, she's like a perfect student of Adobe.
I am. I'm huge Adobe geek. Yeah,
that's awesome. Because when you obviously go from like digital to real life, you're experimenting with new things, but you still have this foundation of like using those tools.
Yeah, exactly.
As well.
No, but it's good. It's like, I mean, I wouldn't be able to do what I did without it. And I love it.
That's really cool.
So
let's go through more if you have some.
This was a big mural I did for the Olympics space at Nike headquarters in Portland, and it was called. The project was called Pass It On, and it was all about passing the baton, basically. When when one athlete takes a stand, or kind of pushes something forward, it's their chance to then pass it on to the next one to kind of make those moves. And so that was cool. Oh no, hold on.
We just had like Rick join right before you, and he was saying that at some point he had some kind of like existential crisis of like, how do I keep my work relevant, and like how do I keep on doing this, especially when you have such a clear style. Like, is that something that you went through as well? Or?
Oh, I always go through
you're
that.
like, right now.
I don't. It would be weird if you didn't go through that.
Totally.
I think. I think that's just a natural part of being an artist. You have those moments where. But I always speak about this with a lot of my friends, and one of the things we're always talking about is staying relevant, but also you get your foot in the door as the illustrator in the style that you are, and then it's how you progress naturally for yourself, but also keep your clients, because a lot of the time we have to work, we have to pay the rent. It's not like unless you're very lucky. You have to make your way. You have to pay. You're a business, so. But it's a careful line of experimenting, which is, I mean, I'm all for experimenting. I think it's the best thing for your practice. But
which leads to the next question, which is like, when do you have personal projects and like time for that, and is that relevant to you or like important for you, or like is client work kind of eating up a lot of your time, which is also fine?
Yeah. So actually, last year I made the decision to take some time this year, which is what I've been doing.
Oh, nice.
To focus on experimenting and exploring, because for the last since I kind of went out on my own, it's been mental, and I've noticed sometimes thinking I just need that time in my studio by myself, headphones in, just creating stuff that
no one cares about.
No one cares about. No one really, and I've, although I love it, but also sometimes it's so hard mentally, because you're like, what am I even doing here? So, but
do you find like support in the creative community in any way? You're based in London, right? Like, do you meet a lot of people who are also in like the art scene and are able to like give you that nudge of like, I also don't know what I'm doing. Like, have a friend.
I'm constantly like chatting with my mates, and we're all like, and all of them are absolutely incredible at what they do.
I can imagine.
And they're literally, every single one of them are just like, went through that last week.
Today wasn't good.
Today was not a good day. But I think that's just natural. That's just part of what we go through. It's like, you have the best thing about being freelance and working for yourself, but you also have to pay for it in that way, you know. So
completely.
But you know, it's just about keeping mentally, you know, healthy, and I do that now I do a lot of meditation now in the mornings.
Very cool.
Literally reset and be like, come on, Kelly.
I remember living in London and I decided to become a yoga teacher and did like my whole training because I was like, I need that, like as part of like life living there too.
Exactly.
I think at some point you just need to find like your something that eases off the pressure.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're not really, you're not originally from there, right? Like, do you have very mixed roots, from what I understand, which I do as well? Like, how did that bring you to London?
Well, so actually I'm from Ipswich.
Okay.
Don't know if you know.
The first time when you said that, I was like, what is she?
You know a little town called Ipswich? No, I'm from Ipswich, which is about an hour northeast of London on the train.
Okay, got it.
But my mum is Italian. Yeah. My dad is Irish. So yeah, I have mixed roots in terms of, you know, family, but
Are you close to those roots, or is that just something that you grew up? Oh, cool.
Yeah, no, we're a close family. We're a very, very tight knit family. So that's
I love that.
Yeah,
really nice. Should we go through a couple more pieces? I think we have to. You're like.
No, this is.
We have a couple more minutes to go through some work. I'll scroll through the chat as well. There's some compliments going in, which is super nice. Love the colors. Awesome work.
Thanks.
Just,
hi Tim.
People joining in. Tim sharing your handles. Hi Paul, Clarissa. Nice to have you here. Great.
Cool.
All right, couple of pieces of work and then I'll let you off to enjoy the evening at OFF. Should we scroll through? You have your website as well. I don't know if we went through it.
So my, so this is my website. I'm actually still working on this. This is, you know, like.
Isn't that a creative thing? Like
honestly,
everyone's like, I have to do my website. It's been 3 years.
No, I literally had my awful same website for like, it was so static and horrible. Mm-hmm. But it's just one of those things that you've always put on the back burner, isn't it? Because you're, you know. So anyway, I'll scroll through. I'm still working on the portfolio a bit, but. So this is actually my friend. So we work a lot together. Her name's Hannah Rudd. She's a contemporary dancer.
Very cool.
So I, you know, a lot of my work is based on movement, and this was actually a project for BMW, that one. But
very cool, yeah.
So yeah, let me.
Is animation something that I can see it now? It's perfect timing. Yeah.
I mean, this was actually from one of my first shows, actually. So this was years ago, but. Yeah, it's something I'm working on a lot now, and I'm actually collabing a lot with a few 3D artists as well, so that's really fun. Obviously, 3D, everyone's getting into 3D.
Yeah, totally.
But it's a really fun way to kind of, you know, look at it all. This was fun. This was Paddington. So I took over the whole site. I think that's being built now.
Very cool.
But that was really a fun project, and I actually went into.
It's huge.
I was working on this project when I was pregnant, and I went into labour early, and I was about to hand in a second draft, and I was like, I actually can't work on this now.
Might have to have like a break.
But I mean, I thought they were going to go and pick someone else, but they didn't. They waited, and then it went live.
Very kind,
you know, which was really amazing, and I think that's really important.
But they chose you, right? So that's also the reason. Yeah.
It is, but I think it's really important to kind of you know, speak about that, because it is important to have, especially mothers in the industry as well, and being, you know, supporting them in whatever way that means. Yeah. So yeah, that was really amazing.
The football
the project.
Yeah.
Going.
What else are you looking forward to at OFF now that you're here, and like this year ahead? Anything you can share?
Oh gosh,
already.
I'm working on quite a lot at the moment, but I can't say.
Okay, yeah,
which
I've
is
had
really
this all day.
annoying. I hate that. I know it's really like. Ugh.
We'll find out eventually.
Yeah, you'll find out. You'll find out. But yeah, I'm also working on, which I can say, on a show.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
nice.
Which I'm really excited about, because it's going to be a mixture of. My new paintings. It's going to be a mixture of, it's multimedia, which is really exciting. So yeah,
super fun.
And a sculpture I've got coming out.
Sculpture. Wait, I wanted to ask you about that. Like, that's going into full 3D.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, what's the scale we can expect?
It's not big. It's about that big.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Have you done sculpture before, or
no? This is the first one.
Okay. Yeah.
So it should be launching midsummer.
Yeah.
But I'm very excited about it. It's gonna be amazing.
The process been so far in terms of working through the sculpture itself?
It's actually a really hard process, because my work's obviously always been quite, you know, flat, and seeing my figures in that 3D space is actually really challenging, because a lot of the time, I'd actually worked on it a few years ago with someone else, but it just, it was almost not feeling, because my figures are supposed to be like powerful and
totally,
strong,
yeah.
and you know,
and then you're building it out and you're like,
so it's quite tricky to get it, but we got it in the end.
Super cool.
And it's exciting, yeah.
Can't wait to see that. And anything else at OFF? Are you going to be attending any talks? Anything happening?
Yeah,
enjoying Barcelona.
I know, enjoying Barcelona, but I'm going to see quite a few people that I really want to go and see.
Fun.
Eva later.
Yeah, she was with us this morning.
Oh, was she?
When we started.
Okay.
Yeah, she's awesome.
And I love that she's on
she
stage.
also joined in on the trend, which is,
I love
she was
it.
lovely, yeah.
Yes, so I'm very excited.
Super cool, I hope you can enjoy OFF. We have one more session here. I'll be joined by Melanie, who's going to come back. But
okay, cool.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, thank you for having me, and thank you everyone for watching.
Yeah, thanks for joining.
Sorry about the hair.
No, not at all, you're all good. We'll be back in about 5 to 10 minutes for our last session of the day. Thanks, Kelly.